Breaking news here, week 1 of the NFL. Cooper Kupp ruled out of this week's matchup against the Seahawks. Limited to just 9 games last season with an ankle injury. This season dealing with a hamstring injury. Injured himself back on August the 1st in training camp. Did not play at all in the preseason. And still trying to get back full speed after that incredible season 2 years ago when he led the NFL in receptions, in yards, in touchdowns. When he was on the field last year, he was still really good. Still first the last 2 seasons in percentage of everything among Rams pass catchers. This is what Sean McVay had to say about it today.
Guys that will not participate: Cooper Kupp, Hunter Long, and Stetson Bennett, and all of those guys will be out for the game. Really not much more information. It's just dealing with some soft tissue stuff, just trying to get him to feel back to normal. And when that ended up occurring, then we'll have him back. But in the meantime, he will not be playing for us.
Any thoughts of putting him in?
It's a possibility. We'll look into that. We want to be able to just kind of give him a little bit of time. We don't have to make that decision quite yet, Gary, but there's a possibility of that. No, I mean, you wish he was able to go, but I got a lot of confidence in the guys. This is something that we probably thought was going to be the situation for a while now. So this isn't anything new to us, but rather just put it to bed, not have to continue to answer questions. Want to be able to get Cooper back when he's ready to go. And in the meantime, a lot of guys have been able to get a great chance to be able to develop, establish a rapport with Matthew and the rest of the group. And looking forward to watching these guys compete on Sunday.
So the Rams will be competing against Seattle without Cooper Kupp. Dave Richard is here for the fantasy angle. We heard a reporter ask him if they're thinking about it all, putting him on injured reserve, and Sean McVay says that they are seemingly thinking that way.
He did not say no, which means that he's probably going to say yes, and that move could come as late as Saturday. And then he's out for the first 4 games of the season. And if he's got, let's face it, he saw a body specialist. I don't even know what that is. But obviously seeing a doctor for a re-injury, a re-strain of his hamstring, cannot be good news. And so he could miss the first 4 weeks of the season.
So let me ask you this.
And fantasy managers have to adjust. And it's terrible because he was a first-round pick.
There are some people that maybe are lucky enough, I guess, to have their drafts tonight. There are people in the newsroom that have their drafts tonight.
I've got one tonight.
Okay, you've got one tonight. So
there's no chance I'm taking Cooper Kupp within the first 3 rounds at least. And I can't honestly look here and tell everybody with a straight face I would take him with a top 50 pick. We don't know his status other than he's for sure going to miss week 1. It sounds like he could miss the next 4 games. Who knows how many more games after the first 4 he could miss. And this could be the beginning of a really bad season for the LA Rams. If Cooper Kupp isn't there, obviously this offense looks a lot different, nowhere near as explosive. It's a big problem.
Who gets elevated in that offense now with Kupp out at least 1 game?
There are a lot of wide receivers that fantasy managers need to take a look at. The first 2 to go and check out are Van Jefferson and Puka Nacua. You're going to think I just made that name up, but it's the rookie wide receiver who's been turning heads since OTAs. He's kind of like a raw green version of Cooper Kupp. Big, physical, knows how to get open. But Van Jefferson is a good route runner, should be good for a minimum of 10 PPR points per game. That's a low floor. The high ceiling is that if he ends up being the leader for the Rams in targets for week 1, week 4, week 8, who knows? He could end up being very helpful for fantasy managers. Both of them available in more than 75% of CBS Sports leagues.
How about some other wide receivers who could be available right now?
Depends on what you want, Chris. If you want a wide receiver that's going to give you a safe floor, maybe 10 to 12 PPR points per game, I got 2 of them for you. Tyler Boyd is still available in about 40% of CBS Sports leagues. Everybody knows what he can do in Cincinnati. And Isaiah Hodgins should be one of the top wide receivers for the New York Giants, should play a lot for them. He's available in 60% of leagues. But if you like upside, and who doesn't like upside, 2 rookie wide receivers to take a long look at. Marvin Mims in Denver and Jaden Reed in Green Bay. There's been another development in Green Bay. Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, the top 2 wide receivers for Green Bay, didn't practice on Wednesday. Might not practice all week, could be out for week 1 themselves. That would elevate Jaden Reed, who's already the slot receiver for Green Bay, into being their number 1 target. he could end up getting 12 to 15 PPR points against the Chicago Bears. Mims would replace Jerry Jeudy, could have a 3 or 4 week window himself to step up and be one of the explosive playmakers in the Broncos passing game.
If you're in a 1 quarterback league, probably not dealing with Matthew Stafford, but 2 quarterback leagues, if you do have Stafford, what's this going to do to him?
I mean, you're not going to be able to go out to your waiver wire and find anybody anyway. So if he's your second quarterback, you're rolling with him and you're keeping your fingers crossed that garbage time delivers 300 yards and 2 touchdowns for Matthew Stafford. Without Cooper Kupp, I wouldn't count on that. I wouldn't sit him for Josh Dobbs. Like, that could be a name that's on the waiver wire. Dobbs is now the starting quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. I'd still go with Stafford over him.
Given Kupp's injury last season, his ankle injury, and the fact that going into the draft, we knew he had this hamstring. Did we overvalue him a little bit?
We thought he'd come out of it just fine, and he did. He was back at practice after about 2 weeks of resting the hamstring, and he did okay. He suffered a setback. These things happen sometimes with hamstrings. Keep that in mind if you've got Jerry Jeudy on your fantasy team, or if you're thinking about drafting Jerry Jeudy, and think about it when it comes to Marvin Mims. We already talked about Mims being one of those explosive playmakers for the Denver Broncos. If Jeudy misses time because of his hamstring, then theoretically Marvin Mims will have more opportunities to win downfield in Denver.
Okay, Cooper Kupp out against Seattle with a hamstring injury. Sean McVay did not say that he would not go to injured reserve. When asked about that today, Dave Richard thinks that's where he might be headed. That would mean he would miss at least 4 games to start this season. If you have a draft tonight, he says don't touch him before, what, top 50?
Yeah, maybe round 5.
Round 5 or so. Okay, much more.
Somebody else take Cooper Kupp in your league.
Much more on that. Fantasy Football Today, the podcast every day of the week this time of year. It is week 1. We kick off the season tomorrow night with Chiefs-Lions.